Okay. Hey guys, how's it going? It's Miyoko from Japan. Welcome back to my channel. I am live from Fukuoka Prefecture, Japan. How are you guys doing? I am so late that many of you might be sleeping already, but I see Johnny. Thanks for coming. Hello. Nice profile picture, by the way. Okay. So I the last week, as you may have seen, I was in Tokyo. I attended CPAC Japan, and this year our guest was the big guest. Each year there are like big guests, but this year it was Jack Posobiec, and of course our favorite Gordon J. Chang was there as well. And so we when it began in the morning, we had a group shot, like a text picture together, and I posted that on X. I also wrote about it in my blog, I guess. But yeah, it was really nice to finally meet Jack in person. Like, I had known about him for years actually. And like, I was following him, and then I exchanged a couple of messages before over Pikachu, but that was it. So like, we weren't in touch or anything, but I one-sidedly knew him, and it turns out like he knew of me, so that was really like a great surprise. But yeah, because there are some other American conservatives that visit Japan through CPAC, and I become friends with them. So I need to give a big credit to JCU though, because they are really nice. It's all the work that they've put their efforts in, and they let us use that connection. So yeah, it's really nice. But anyway, how are you? I'm good, thank you. I'm doing well, I think. This week flew by though. Like in Japan, it said from the Asian time that, like I think from October to December, like the time just flies, like when the sun goes down earlier than before. Somehow, like we feel like time flies. It's weird, but yeah, but after I go back to Fukuoka, I posted 3 videos, I believe. The one with Jack, the second one was another video from CPAC also, and I made a video quickly with the Hungarian guy, and he talked about the policy about like a countermeasurement for declining birth rates, so that was good. And also, my husband and we visited Inui Street of the Imperial Palace. So I made a video of that and posted. So if you haven't, check that out, please. Hey Yoko, how are you? Today's my birthday, and I turned 28. Oh my gosh, happy birthday! Wow, and you're young. I mean, 28 like in a society is like just adult age, but I'm 38. I turned 38 this year, so I'm 10 years older than you. It's a Japanese thing, like we compare ages, so it's our thing. But yes, cheers! This is not sake, this is just water, but yay, to Gary! So, cheers. What are you gonna do? I mean, what did you do for your birthday? So today I woke up though with my husband saying like, "Oh, there was something big today," while I was asleep. So I'm like, "Why?" And then I checked the news, and I saw the news about our politicians like hidden money. It's been a scandal here, which I don't think is really a scandal, but the public don't understand how things work. So they're making a big deal out of it, and it's actually shaking our cabinet right now. So I'm not sure. I think the Prime Minister Kishida will remain in the seat, as the Prime Minister. I think he is safe, but his cabinet, or like, it's not his cabinet, starting from is it the cabinet chief of staff or something like that. I don't remember the exact English name, but the guy, like a spokesman kind of guy, it's not spokesman, but he always has a press conference. But anyway, so like the really big important people, those who belong to the same group as Abe, are now attacked, and they were like politicians have to make it clear like what kind of income they have and what they spend the money for, and they have to report that. But many politicians inside the faction, I'm pretty sure that other factions are the same, and even like opposition party politicians, I think that they have issues too, but they just don't come into the light because they are the opposition parties, and they care about the power. So the governing parties are always on the media's radar. But yeah, so some politicians, from Abe faction, they didn't report the money that they got through the party. It's in the like we hold a party, but it's not a party, like whoo, like it's not that kind of party, just gathering, and then but you have to sell the tickets, and then you get the income from the ticket, right? And they have the norm, like they have to sell a certain number of tickets, and then if they sell it more than that, then they get a what you call a kickback or whatever it's called. So yeah, so and then they didn't report that on the report that they are supposed to do, and then they're bashed now because it's against the rules or laws. And so yeah, and so now we don't know where the money is at or how it's spent because like they didn't write where the money come from or how much it came from. So then they just have the money, right? And so like we don't know what they are doing with the money, right? So that's why they're bashed. And now our cabinet, it's not the cabinet, it's the Abe faction, because the media is still attacking Abe even after he's gone. He was assassinated for political reasons, and they are still bashing him like he's the victim, right? But the media is the left, so that's what happens. But anyway, yeah. And another news that I woke up to was Shohei Otani Dodgers. Like he's gonna go to Dodgers. Dodgers. I don't even know how to pronounce that name. Dodgers. Yeah. So 10-year contract, I think, and it's what like so much money. You can Google it and see, but it's historic, and I think that now all Americans will know his name, so that's great. It's really nice that the Shohei Otani's presence in the baseball field shows that Americans don't discriminate. Back in the day, Japanese people had a lot of hard times, like history shows, our documents and records. And so I'll get to the super chat in a minute. My husband is yelling at me for I'm not ignoring, okay? I'm just still in the middle of talking. Yeah, back in the day, like our ancestors had problems because the Western countries were powerful and we weren't, and we were, I don't know, maybe we looked weird, I don't know. But now, like today, look at the US, like they're like Japanese people standing on this like equally on the stage, and that's what makes me happy. The Americans cheering for him in the stadium and so on, like oh Shohei, or it's show time and so on. It shows how amazing Americans are. Of course, like. And to us, it's not like like Americans knows how know how good we are. Like we don't think that way. Like we respect America, like USA. It's the big country in the world. It's the leader of the world. So like us going to the big country and getting into the spotlight, and that's an amazing thing for us, right? So it's like a true success story for us, and it's really encouraging. And of course, like, it wouldn't happen without the presence of America and America's power. So like, it's all good. Anyway, Tony, thank you so much for your super chat. Thank you. Sorry it took long. Oh yeah, it's the same comment and you put it in here. Okay. Hello, I hope there are good news here. Here in France, it has been 1 month and a half that there are terror attacks every freaking day. It's really, is it related to Israel and Hamas? That's horrible, man. Like, France is no longer like the France that we picture, in other countries. I might have said this before, but I have a good, like, old friend of mine, like, she married a French guy and lived in France for a while, like, in her early stage of marriage, and then they realized that it's not safe there, so they moved to somewhere else. Yeah, man, that's awful. Like, after Trump took power, we thought, especially in my country at least, like, we thought that the war against terrorism was over, but now, Biden administration is there and they are doing a poor job. The world is out of balance, right? Like, our world order is threatened. Like, it's changing right now, obviously, and it's making things worse. Now we are threatened by terrorism again, like, not just in that area of the world, but like in the US. I was checking Fox News before I came here, and I realized that, like, I listened to the test. Is it called like testimony or something, by the Harvard president? And she she was like, she was unclear about her position, like, she couldn't clearly say that, about, like, there are Hamas supporters, I believe. Yeah, it's awful that you have to be even, threat, like, you have to be alert on terrorism even in the US. Yeah, I can't even imagine what like, Jewish people are feeling right now every day. Like, they could be targets at any moment, anywhere they are, anywhere they are, in the world. My husband, like, super chat. Like, do you see that super chat? I, I am thankful, but at the same time, like, I'm getting there. Okay. Unfortunately, I can't say, but I would like to ask two quick questions. How do native Japanese citizens view naturalized Japanese citizens? How do Japanese? We, as long as they love Japan and they understand Japan as it is, then we are, very, like, we actually like it, I think, because the ratio is very, very, like, the percentage is very small anyway. And I have naturalized friends from Mongolia, maybe Uyghur, not sure. But like, those who that are oppressed by China, they come to Japan to escape, right? And some of them get naturalized to protect themselves, and I think it's a good idea, because, especially because they speak good, like, it's broken, but still, like, they try to speak Japanese, and they're like, because, especially because they are Asians, so they know how to get adopted here, or the grammar is difficult. They are adopted here, or they adopt themselves. I don't know the vocab. But they live here like the rest of us, so like, we don't have issues, right? So that's good. But maybe you saw my tweet about this naturalized woman in my area. I don't know her in person, and I am happy that she's happy that she's Japanese. But there's this white woman who is now Japanese, and I don't know her background, but um, I just don't want those naturalized people or any foreigners, like those who were born outside of Japan as non-Japanese. I don't want them to try to change our country. That's just how it is, you know. But there are some amazing people too, though. Like even if they are not naturalized, like there are like those who get married with Japanese people here and get the right to live here and so on, or just simply foreigners that come here. Like they have, like some of them have like true passion about Japan somehow, and like they know more stuff about Japan than I do on certain things, and like I get blown away each time. And they are so, even if their language is broken, like we can see how much effort that they are making, and like we feel the love for our country. So when we see that, we're like, oh, thank you, right? Like, and also like we forget about all the barriers and so on. Like we can just see the person. So that's what I love, like especially because I say especially because often like it's bothering me. um but I speak English, and I interact with foreigners a lot, right? Like from everywhere in the world, and um I don't discriminate, and I always see the people's backgrounds and so on. And it's always nice when we can truly understand each other, Yeah. And I um it's funny. My husband is being a good producer today. He's widely awake today. Another question. What's your opinion on Japanese people who want Japan to be multicultural, multi-ethnic society like America? Uh, are there people like that? Are there people like that? Because it, on a daily basis, of course, I belong to this political field, and I mainly talk to conservatives, right? Uh, So like my what I see is pretty limited. The people that I hang out with or hear opinions from, like the premise is already biased. And also I try to collect information as much as possible, reading the news and so on, even from the left media and so on. But um I guess the media pushes this multicultural thing, but then the thing about Japan is like even conservative people, we are open to like foreign culture. We just know, like that's just how Japanese people have been for like thousands of years. you know W- like we were Shinto country, but then we swallowed Buddhism, and then Christianity, and like all those new religions to us, or new culture, or new I don't know, products, whatever, like or technology. Like it comes to our country, but we just swallow them because we love new things or different things. And so like we are not against multicultural stuff, I guess, because we make it our own too. Like even like what was it? French or Italian? I don't remember, but one of the offspring of Meiji Emperor. He's a conservative opinion leader, and he wrote in his book that in I think it was a French restaurant, but over here in Japan we have the restaurants for pasta or like dessert, like the thing only, like it's just, oh, it's a spaghetti or something like that, and then that's the store, or I mean restaurant. But they don't have that in like the original countries and so on, if you know what I mean. And like we, like Japanese people, like to look look at things in details, right? and that's what we do. So like even though it's the same culture, we look at it differently and make it our own, and then develop from there to make new things and so on. And it just has been that way. So so I'm not too worried about the culture, being mingled with other things. It's about the issue is that we must not forget about what to protect, right? So what defines our country, such as our emperor, um, and also the history of it. And then the gender difference is big too. But the thing is, even LGBT, we are open to LGBT. Like there are lots of LGBT icons in Japan. I mean, like public figures, that get on TV and so on. We've been tolerant for years and years, and and but when it comes to society or politics, what matters is the marriage system. So that's something that we don't want to change. But on a daily basis, if you interact with people, um elderly old men tend to have some kind of allergy, when it comes to LGBT, like a gay guys and so on. I guess they feel threatened or something because like they could be, approached or something. I have no idea. Like it's the guy thing. I don't know because I'm a female. But generally speaking, we're open. We enjoy whatever is fun and so on. So if you know what I mean. And about the ethnic part, though, of course, we have a decline in birth rates, and people are concerned, like, oh, we're gonna have so much problem. But at the same time, we still look at foreigners as foreigners, and I think that we are proud of that. Like people don't realize it, but we are proud, that our country, you know, like when you look when you hear the word Japanese, we instantly think of people like myself, right? Like Japanese, like racially Japanese. And I don't think that people want to change it, no matter how much we are like exposed to other countries, cultures, or peoples, and so on. Yeah. So what we have to be careful with is the immigrant policy and the work environment, I guess. Um, yeah, it's changed a lot. If you go to what we call convenience store, like a 7-Eleven or Family Mart, Lawson, like our 24 open stores. If you go there now, many of their staff are like from they by the looks of them, they are from the like other Asian countries, like Southeast Asian countries. And it's or if you stay at hotels, I visit Tokyo and I see the cleaning staff and they're from like the Philippines or somewhere like that. So I see that often. So I don't like it, but at the same time, Japanese people don't want to get that kind of jobs anymore. So like, yeah, that. But I guess it's the world phenomenon though in developed countries. It's not just Japan, I guess. Hmm. But at least like Japanese people have common sense still, so that's, I guess, is what's supporting us today. So education is very important. So that's something that I don't want to lose. I have to keep watching. Sorry, long answer, but thank you for your super chat. It really helps. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, let's go back a bit. Well, we're early in the morning, and that's late at night. I'm still mad. The Mariners didn't try to get him. Oh, Shohei Ohtani. 700 million. Yes. So much money. It's so late. I feel like I'm dying, but I have to say okay. This week again. Yoko is elegant as always. Thank you. I try. Sorry, there's a airplane flying above me, and when that happens, somehow my Wi-Fi gets weak. I don't know why. Like a TV, I understand because it's how like it's just how it works. But when it comes to Wi-Fi, like why does it get affected by the plane? Weird. Godzilla -1 is a big success in America. Oh yeah, I saw that news. Yeah, I just saw it again tonight for the second time. Wow, the new movie, right? Like I saw some article about it. Cool. Oh, terrorism in France? Not really. Not linked to Hamas in Israel, more linked to the younger Muslim generation getting more radical. Yeah, like it's sad, but like it's sad that I'm not surprised, right? Because even from here in Japan, like we can see what's happening to France, all the you know uh other immigrants and so on. But the ironic thing that I probably shouldn't mention is that it's the history, right? Like the France, I believe, colonized those countries, and then they learned the language, right? Like French language and so on, and then they came back like revenge. Like that's how I see. Like it's yeah, history. Like, and it's unfair that you have to pay the price for it. Mm. And that's you know China and some leftists in South Korea, they say like, oh, Japan was so bad and we got colonized, we were tortured, blah blah blah. But then the thing is that they don't even speak Japanese. They speak like our people back then taught Korean people Korean language that wasn't spread in the country. And like it's so different because it was an annexation. Um, yeah, but it's interesting how history works. Hmm. Five attack on French small village. Huh? Sanctuary. You have sanctuary city? Jing festivity like cripple where 20 were harmed and one killed and some other were only harmed because eh, that's a huge deal. Like it's not about a number, but still like it's a big number. For a professor who got killed to protect his student from a Muslim, he fought a Muslim with a machete with his bare hand. 57 young Muslims said that the attack was right and could do the same. Man. I'm not familiar with religions, like other religions like Christianity, Judaism, Islam. Like I don't know them well, but like I thought the religions are there to, for the people to live peacefully and in prosperity. And like I always wonder why people, in order to like create the world that they believe in, like they have to kill. Like it's so weird. Hmm. Man, I realized that just looking at your comments, I realized that the problems that you are going through are something that we don't have here. Yeah, like if you like just because like we live in total different locations, like our problems are different, and that's interesting to me because the US, for example, the US is of course it's far away, but they are going through the similar problems than we are, right? Like the Chinese are um influencing their country, and China wants to take the world hegemony, and America is fighting back, and Japan, like, we live right next to China, so we are fighting against China too. So like we are fighting the same battle, but I realized that in Europe it's like you have extra problems too. um yeah, and then it's close to Russia also. Like, I mean, my country is still, like, we actually, like, our borders, we have a border with Russia, just so you know. So it's kind of weird when I think about it. Like, I feel like Russia is such a really far away, but they are not. It's like right next to us, and rather, like, they invaded into our territories and they took them. So Tony, what? Oh, Tony. My husband from the living room, like, Tony. French village are kind of considered sanctuary where nothing happens. They always been a saying, what? Fay passionless villages. Don't mess with village. Oh, interesting. Huh. I wonder in what way. Is it free from the laws, or is it that the people there are strong against all kinds of problems? Because when I hear sanctuary, I imagine like New York or California, I mean San Francisco or whatever. Thank you for super chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Do you think Japan would benefit if you were to elect a prime minister like Argentinian president? Eh, Actually, what's interesting, that reminds me that, sorry, I can't give you like a direct answer, but um, j- after the Argentina election, I realized that the world leaders, except for like dictators, like in America, in Europe, or Argentina, like the leaders goes back and forth between the right and the left. Like, it swings so much, and then their country policy changes so much. And over here in Japan, our prime minister, it hasn't, like, our prime ministers were famous for changing one after another, but it stopped after Abe administration, which lasted the longest after the post-war generation. But I realized that in over here in Japan, our leaders change, and it can position can change like one after another, but our policies are always in the center, pretty much. Like, our country, or I mean our society, is left biased, like left leaning due to our history. But still, like, in the country, given the premise, like, it's in the center and it doesn't go extreme, either right or left, and it's somewhat in the middle. And so that's, I guess, is how we are. Japanese people are not like, we don't challenge. We we are. It's a weird characteristic of the Japanese, I think. That we don't want to change, like, culturally, even though we like new things and so on. Like, we are not adventurous, or we are not like revolutionists. So I guess that we are very careful with the risks that we can take. So yeah. So first of all, like, I don't think that our people would want to pick anybody like that. And if there was somebody like that president, um I don't think that he would get that popular. I mean, over here, For example, there was this party called, man, I can't translate that in English. Well, in short, we call them NHK party. And when they formed that party, to destroy NHK, our TV network, um, um, yeah, just basically, being against the media, leftist media. But the leader was so extreme and funny that he did get a seat, but then extreme people do extreme politics, so now they are having issues inside a party. And I think that they got divided into, like, it was a small party, like people thought that it was funny, so some people voted for the party, but then it was just a one phase, and after that people got bored and then didn't vote anymore. And so it was just a beginner's luck, I think. And then now they're struggling because they are so extreme that they're extreme inside their power, so it doesn't last. So yeah, and in Japan it doesn't work like that. Like we don't take risks. In short. Maybe I think that I missed a lot of comments. お、こんにちは、よこさん。こんにちは。いらっしゃいませ。Wait. It's only 30 minutes after midnight. Oh. Working a few hours? You work on weekends? Let's see. Japanese women's universities are accepting trans women now. It's coming to Japan. It's bashed at the same time, though. There can be like, usually what happens in politics is that politically, like just like in the US, like we have like very leftist area and conservative areas. Majority are conservative by our standard. Like it's not the true conservative, but like somewhat conservative. And then in urban cities, or like due to the historical background, some areas can be very leftist. And of course, like university heads and so on, like or powerful men can be very leftist, left biased and so on. So there can be some problems sometimes like this, or is it called, what was it, Kawasaki, like somewhere somewhere here in Japan, like there's a Kurdish problem, like Kurdish immigrants are out of hand and they're doing illegal activities and they are not apologetic. There's some like that. And usually when that happens, the local authorities have to deal with that, but it's left like it is, right? Like they're not dealing with that well, and things like that happens. But then we hear about it, the rest of the Japanese hear about what's happening in specific area or specific case, and then we have common sense. So culturally, what's interesting about us, like ourselves, is that when you stand out in our society, you get hammered so much, hammered down, like don't stand out, don't stand out, right? So even I, like when I began talking about politics, back then, like a decade ago, it wasn't a thing yet here in Japan. So when I began talking about politics and began to stand out, people were like, some people were encouraged by me, but others were like, you don't know anything, and they want to hammer me down. And that's what happens. The same goes for crimes or the new ideology by the left and so on too. Because there was a public restroom in Tokyo, the new building, which established or installed this like LGBT friendly restroom, and then people bashed it so much that I think it closed. So, like, I'm not. Japanese people are so nice, and we tend to be peaceful, but we can be very wild and very like feisty. So I'm not too worried about it. And again, like, we don't um when it comes to exams and things like that, like this case, like, of course, it has to be equal. So my extreme idea is to just get rid of all the frames, like exams are exams. Like, you don't have any, advantage or disadvantage with education, right? So, like, why do you have to have a certain number? Just get rid of all the frames, and let people take exams equally, right? Because that's a true equality. But when it comes to sports and so on, like, of course, your body functions differently, your size are different, so that's why we have class and so on. So, mhm. And I really believe in our common sense. What's different about Japan is, again, like, as I keep saying, like, the majority of us are Japanese, so we just, and also like our society or culture, like how we are, is that we are far from individualism. We don't think like, today we are leaning toward the sense of rights, individual rights, than before. We have that here, and it's good, but still, like, it's far from individualism, because we know that we need to stick together, and we have to prioritize the public over our individual thoughts or backgrounds. It's just how Japanese people are, and I think that it was. I said this before many times, but I think that it was formed because we have lots of natural disasters, and we have to stick together to survive. And so, like, even if you're suffering, like, you can't be selfish. You have to think about how to survive together, right? Like, we form a team and do things together. So that's how we are. So it's always the public. Not sure though, from now on though, like today it's like that, but in the future, I don't know, like the young kids today, they are always on the internet, and they don't have that same sense as us, maybe. I don't know. Mm, 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 mm. There's some Japanese people who want to be Japan, who want Japan to be like America, where Japanese isn't is just about having citizenship and about describing specific people from a specific place. There was a prime minister from here that said that Japan does not belong to the Japanese only. He said that, the former prime minister Yukio Hatoyama said that. And then it was bashed like crazy. Uh, it's so weird though. Like, I seriously, like, I don't understand like how some people's mind work, because like we all have a nationality, right? And it's not identity, right? Like, nationality is where you are born in, and if you don't like it, you can change it. But like, what? I feel like some people are just against the system than the country itself. Like, I mean, uh, I can't explain it well. But good evening, Yako. Good evening. I'm glad to see you doing okay. Thought about you when they had those tsunamis a couple weeks ago. Oh yes, I hope you weren't affected by that. Thank you. Yeah, like there were big earthquakes in around Philippines and also like near Australia, I think. And the volcano in, is it in Philippines? Like in the south, right? Volcano and also earthquakes. And yeah, I was afraid what's gonna happen because like earthquakes somehow, like I sometimes watch like earth earthquake YouTubers on YouTube. And this guy, I think he's from America though. But this guy explains earthquake like it happens here, and then it it spreads like a ripple effect. And so one big one happens, boom, and then just like if you draw a circle, like somewhere where the plates are, it happens, like a ripple effect. So like I was afraid like, oh, there was a big one there in the south, so then it will come here as well, because it really happens that way, like it's connected. I don't know why it's not the mainstream way of thinking in the earthquake field today yet, but thank you. It did reach to some area though, I heard, like 20 centimeters, like maybe this big. I don't know. So it was not big, so that was good to know, but thank you. Oh, is it a citation? But God commendeth his love toward us in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. Romans 5:8. Who whosoever believe that's the old language, right? That Jesus is the Christ is born of God. John 5:1. God bless all. Nice. It's so difficult for me, but thank you. Okay. Am I reading so slowly? This is from like 15 minutes ago. Oh no. Oh, hi, Oyoko. What would you say is Japanese sentiment towards Biden? Sentiment is like, just to make sure. Kanjo. Okay. Towards Biden. Generally speaking, I don't think that people are thinking about anything just like Biden isn't. But ordinary Japanese people, like aside from political people from here, ordinary people think of Biden just as the leader of the US, and they don't see the difference because fundamentally the policies, like the main policies with Japan haven't changed. We cooperate together to fight against China, and there's the strategy that we share together, like Indo-Pacific, free and open Indo-Pacific strategy, and what like yeah, and we support AUKUS, is it AUKUS, and so on, and so we are on the same page, we are on the same side. So yeah, people probably are not thinking about anything. The only thing that people notice though is probably that the fact that Biden is old, but I don't know how much people care about that either. But political people, especially on the conservative side, um, we we have issues with Biden because he's so weak, and we need a strong America in this world, just like Trump was building, right? Like, or taking back, right? But today, Biden, even though Trump was making America great again, and Biden took power, and now America is weakening, and we can see that, and there are consequences that are coming from there. And also, as for diplomatic decisions, Biden is not smart, and he gives money to Like he is too just like before the World War I, I think. Um, like it's appeasement after appeasement, and that's not how you should deal with terrorists or terrorist nations. And so yeah, and also Biden is so old that we don't think that he is making good decisions, or we have no idea like how he is making decisions. So, and also Hunter Biden issue is what bothers me as me and the rest of conservatives here too. And so like it's a weird power, you know, like we don't know who they are, like what's going on in the U.S. And just look at the U.S. itself, like the obviously there's the border issues, but Biden isn't handling that, and we can see that. And when America, like of course, like domestic issues are something that Americans should, deal with, and it doesn't directly affect us. But when America is weak and unstable, then it does affect us because we are, you know, our safety depends on America, like it or not. And we're trying to be independent, but America does stop us too from fully being militarily strong and so on. So like then like you have to make sure that your country is strong enough to support us, right? But we don't see that from Biden. Mm. Yeah. You're dying, please don't die. Most religion does, one religion does not, Yoko. One religion does not. I forgot what I was talking about. Mm-mm-mm. Wait, read that. Okay, let me. Not worried. But again, like I've been hearing all the stuff about immigrants and so forth for like at least for a decade. I became politically active a decade ago. They were saying the same thing back then, like like especially because uh, like right before 10 years ago means that when our country had the second Abe cabinet, and so like the second time that our Shinzo Abe became our prime minister. So before that was the Democratic Party regime. So and then so during the Democratic Party power, we were very 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 threatened, right? And then so they were pushing like policies to be tolerant for immigrants and so on, or the human rights in general, um so we were stopping that. But like they had all the policies and so on, and we already fought back then. And so like it's been going on, and it's uh, I don't know, like it's a repetition. So and I think that at least what has changed among the conservative community that I see is that there are, especially after Trump administration, like people here began to be attracted to Trump. He's such a charismatic leader of the US that many of us started to like him too, right? And so after that, just like myself, there are Japanese people that watch what's going on in the world, on the side, being on the same side as Trump. So, um, they people here worship Trump, like some of them. And then from with that perspective, Japanese people do take lots of information of the world. And what that means is that we are like aware of we were always aware of what's happening in the world, but we were more like our understandings have gotten deeper than before. Like before Trump, like we didn't even know the difference between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. Like we didn't really care. Oh, it's the American leader, and they're taking this policy, so we have to do this and that, and that's how we were thinking. But today, we are like, oh, Republicans are saying this, and Democrats are saying that, and blah blah blah, and we understand what's going on, right? Just like now, we look at the world like that, and usually like experts, of course, or professors, like they've seen things that way all the time, but like ordinary people, my level of people, um people's understandings have gotten deeper. And so what that means, I think, is that now um we see all the examples in the world, just like France, like Tony was explaining. We can see what's happening in the world, right? And what the backgrounds and historical backgrounds and racial backgrounds, financial backgrounds, and you share all the information online, so we can see that like there are language barriers, but some people understand language, they translate, so the information come here. So then we learn, right? Like just like the public restroom that I mentioned earlier in Tokyo, the LGBT friendly public restroom. I don't think that people have fought back as much if we were not familiar with the politics in the US and how much controversy there has been in the US. But we see all the troubles and problems that other countries are facing. So um through that, even though we are not experiencing it directly, like, but we are seeing what's happening and we are learning from that. Mhm. Natural disaster, Japan, wake up alarm. Yes. And but wake up alarm in a like spiritually too, though. Like I feel like I'm such a conservative person, and I'm such a like a traditional Japanese that I'm really I really truly believe that when, you know, if Japan's politics becomes much worse, then I think that there will be a huge earthquake or something like that. Our gods will get, it's not the mad, like being mad, gods being mad, it doesn't make sense to me, but it's like the gods will shake our country, and then it's like a spank, like you have to get things together, like you are one nation, one tribe, you gotta stick together, right? Like stop dividing yourselves. So then shake it, and then we will wake up and forget about the small problems, and we will start caring about what's really important. And I think that that's what's going to happen, because the huge earthquake, by the way, 2011, it happened during the Democratic Party administration. uh, and the other big one in 1993, I think, in Kansai area, that was during the socialist prime minister time. I was like 9 or 10, but yeah, it happens. Okay, anyway. Oh, it's been almost an hour. I have to go soon. I think all the governments in the UN are working with China, yes, which is why they were able to infiltrate with manufacturing, buying property, and such. Yes. Like, and the thing about the UN is that we are still the enemy. Japan is still the enemy of the UN, basically. So, like, um, and also, like, small countries' vote matter, and it's like a board game, right? Like now, people talk about global South, but it's all about increasing your teammates, right? Like, oh, I'm gonna get this guy, that guy, that guy, that guy, and you're getting all these people, like buying those people or countries, and get a vote in like global stage, like the UN and others. They're so cunning. Um, I was thinking recently about how Japanese automakers tend to stay out of American politics and seem to be willing to seek customers from all parts of the political spectrum. Hmm, Are we are we staying out of American politics? Interesting. Our business people are smart, you know. And what's interesting, as I said, like Japanese people are so tolerant, you know. We have something good, and then, the global, people outside of Japan, like they change the rules or change the culture, like now they're talking about what SDGs and so on, and then then Japanese people overcome that and make it our own, and then you know so now, like, automobile industry too, like they are changing their technology, like I guess there are some options and so on too, but it's interesting how we do things. Praying for Japan's safety as well as their outer and inner peace. Thank you so much. It means a lot. Sorry, I am so hungry all of a sudden and I am so distracted. Yoko hungry. Mm, 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 mm. Oh, super chat, thank you. Babylon, Bab- Bab- Babylon B headline. Otani signs with Dodgers for 700 million, will receive 58 bucks after California taxes. That's so funny. That is so funny. Oh my gosh. what's what's ironic is that, like, you don't know. It might be true, right? Man, that's so funny. Like, what has happened to the immigrants there? Illegal immigrants, like, there are lots of illegal immigrants that you have to put them in detention center or whatever the facility is, and then the number, like, it's outnumbered, right? Like, and the people have to sustain the cost. It's so stupid. Like, illegal immigrants, like, why do you have that problem to begin with? Like, what are the laws for? It's so stupid. Well, like, at the end of the day, we just have to laugh out loud, right? Like, it's so stupid. All the problems that we are facing, like, why do we have to face them? So stupid. Huh. Hi, Yoko. How have you been? I've been good. Thank you for asking. I attended CPAC. Oh, I forgot to mention. I went on the John Bachelor show too and talked about Japan. So if you haven't, Google John Bachelor show with, maybe put Yoko Ishii together and you might get a hit. Or if you, oh, should I? Or did I put the link in the description box? I'm not sure. You can probably find it, but yes. Invest in Toyota and Honda. Yeah. But Toshiba, by the way, I think they stopped being the in the market. It's like, because if you put, oh, why is it called in English? Listing a stock. So, like, they stopped being that. because I think nowadays, like, you have to protect your companies from foreign powers because they can buy you up, right? Mm. But now today though, is it just making sure the word economic security? Yeah, economic security is something that Japan has been working on, especially like under Kishida. Well, it began maybe with Abe, I'm not sure, but Kishida administration is focusing on um, economic security, and Sanae Takaichi, our minister, is really good at that. And there are lots of politicians inside of LDP that are really good with issues like that. So we really need to protect our companies, our technology, and so on. Spies are everywhere, though, and I don't think that we still, like, Japan doesn't have like anti-espionage laws still. Given what's at stake in 24, make sure you and he have a game plan should Biden win the next election. Oh yeah, we have to be ready for all kinds of scenarios, I think. Yeah. What sucks about Biden administration is that, like, I can't get connected with the US embassy, like, it's Rahm Emanuel, like, I can't be friends with him. Like, I would, but I don't think that he would like it, right? So, and it sucks. Like, I can help really, like, I can help so much, to be the bridge between Japan and the US. And the ambassador is pretty picky. So, yeah. So, like, Biden administration means that it's like, I mean, he will get replaced, but I wonder who will come next, because to Japan, of course, the ambassador is important. Kennedy was good, and Hagati was good. Oh, man, Hagati, oh, such a great man. Like, he issued a statement about Abe too, with the Democratic Party lawmaker too. So, yes, hungry. What are you having for dinner or breakfast? Thank you for the good one. Thank you so much. I wonder what I'm having. Usually, I prepare salad and miso soup, and my husband makes rice and some main stuff like meat or fish. So we do it together. I'm supposed to be the housewife, or what you call it today, homemaker. I don't make home. I'm just me. uh, in a way, I'm not really conservative. I guess that I'm just a spoiled child still. You know. Bottom line, I hope Japanese culture doesn't change. They have kindness, integrity, decency, and they still have a sense of shame. I love it. Thank you. As long um the urban areas or our urban cities don't spread, I think the true, like, good Japanese sense will survive. It's the cities that go weird. It's the same for America. Like, if you look at the election results, like, one of you actually told me about it before, when I was watching when they were counting votes of the presidential election. But I realized that cities are liberal or progressive, and then the areas surrounding them are all, conservative. And it's the same for Japan. Even though we don't have as much economic gap and the just living standards, it's pretty much the same here in Japan. However, in the cities, of course, the lives are different. So then your values change, right? And how you live, what you believe in, it changes accordingly. But it's still like centralized, in each prefecture. It's not even in each prefecture, it's limited, like big prefectures are limited in 47 prefectures that we have. But yeah, if you go to all kind like different places in Japan, you realize that, oh, Japan is actually big. And so then, like in countryside, so on, people are conservative. It just happens, because in the cities, people make up all the stuff in their head. They're busy thinking about stupid things. You are on the Bachelor, yeah? The John Bachelor show. It's not the Bachelor. You mean Bachelor, like the romance program? Sen, Senramade fish. Uh, in Japan, the ambassador is the governor. It's him who got the real power, not the prime minister. It depends, but someone is taking advantage of that, and that is especially in Okinawa. Okinawa governor is such a huge problem for us, but LDP has to work on more on Okinawa, and like LDP has their own issues inside, so sometimes it's affected like that. Okinawa is important, but they're not pouring enough energy there. And we've been saying that for years, but it's just how it is. So that sucks, really sucks. But and also Shizuoka, in Shizuoka, we are supposed to have how do you say this again? Linear linear motor car. Something that we are developing, linear motor car. And it is supposed to connect the Tokyo with where I forget. Maybe Nagoya. I don't know. Like important, like big cities. It's supposed to connect big cities, and you can just like bullet train or even faster. It goes really quickly, and it's like the very advanced, like most advanced technology that we want to install in our country. But then the governor of Shizuoka is refusing. Like it goes a bit in Shizuoka, like it doesn't stop there. It just um goes through Shizuoka, right? And then but he is rejecting, and so that's the whole, like, it's our national vision, but it's stopping. It's stopped by him. So it does happen. Fukuoka is conservative, yes. Like generally speaking, yes. It's interesting, yeah, when it comes to Fukuoka, because the city is big, like way bigger than before, and all the people from the rest of our island, Kyushu, they come up to Fukuoka because that's the biggest town, right? But still, like compared to Tokyo, for example, it's still the countryside, basically. Like our minds are still not developed. I don't know if it's good or bad, but politically, especially because maybe because assholes power, or I don't know, like it's tied with our economic field as well, tightly. So it's the business people's minds too that have things to do with that. Anyway, oh, it's been over an hour. I should go. I think Rahm Emanuel is terrible. He was infamous here in the US for how aggressive and nasty he was. Yeah, I've heard of the rumors. Yes. Yes. Okay. Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I should go. It's 4 p.m. My calendar is still in December, not November. Just noticed. Thank you. God bless Yoko and Hide, and also everyone watching and in the chat. You are doing great work that we need. The live stream was another great discussion and interaction. Thank you so much. That means a lot. Oh, thank you. Happy second Sunday of Advent. 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 出現降臨 That's a difficult word, but thank you. Have a good night. Thank you. Good night. Have a good day. Thank you. You too. Thanks for the live today. Thank you. Trump or DeSantis? Trump. Trump all the way. Or I personally would. I think I like Nikki Haley too. I know that you would hate me for that, but for Japan, when you think about the national interest of Japan, it's Trump. First Trump, and then Nikki Haley maybe. No, Biden, not Biden. That's the most important part. Let's talk about that later. Yeah. Peace, Yoko. Thank you. Cheers. Thank you. I know you guys hate her. I know. And I know why. And I know the problems, especially because Vivek has listed a lot. Anyway, thank you so much and have a great day or night. Okay. If you're on the other side, sleep well. Okay. Thank you again. I'll go. Okay. Bye.